Hi everybody, this is for you, collectors and fans of the 1971 Matchbox Scorpions. If you think about to restore your old car and make it like new again, then keep on watching this video in which I show you step by step how to get your car back into a clean and technically fully functional condition. So stay in line and have fun. So the first step, of course, is taking off the old and gassed out battery, and let's have a look what's underneath. And guess what? Yeah, everything is corroded on the contacts, under the contacts, in between, everywhere, on the motor, in the motor. Means we will have to remove everything and replace it with new components. The following step is to cut off the wire from the motor. Just want to give you this little advice. If you try to clean all the components with rust remover like CLR or vinegar, then you might get clean surfaces, but think about that the corrosion is also everywhere underneath and in between, so you won't get it off, and this will cause serious problems with the electric system of your car and even a proper charging of your new battery. Now I take a little screwdriver and bend away the contact from the motor so that I can take it out easily. This corroded motor will be replaced by a complete new motor, and therefore I will take the wheels off and put them on again on the new axle. And here I show you how I take off the front axle. This is very easy. Just give a little push with your finger from underneath and then just take it out. We will have to clean this later on. This little block here is a weak magnet, and its only function is to maintain the magnetic pretension in the reed switch underneath and to keep the switching position, whether it's open or closed position. So I have to take this off with a needle nose pliers because mostly it's glued in. So be careful and a little patient. Two kinds of metal drill. You can take this one here, which is my favorite, but not everybody has it. So you can also take a standard metal drill. It should be about 3 or 4 millimeters width. For drilling, my favorite machine is a cordless or battery powered drill because I can let it spin very slowly, and that's exactly what I need for this delicate operation. And by the way, this is very important. We never try to drill in or through the rivet hole. We never do. The thing what we do is we scrape off the upper edge of the rivet, and then we can take off the battery contact very easy. Now I have to concentrate on my drilling position. I locate the drill directly in the center of the rivet and then carefully start to drill very slowly, like so, and then I can take off the battery contact. Very easy. But there is still the shaft of the rivet inside, and we have to poke this out. Therefore I take a nail, or you can take another pointed tool and just set it into the rivet shaft and try to push it out. Be careful, but when there's so much corrosion it's really hard to get this off, but you will get it off. Just another try, like so, a little amount of pressure and it will come off, like so. And you can see a very clean hole in the chassis. That's what we want. And then the exact same procedure on the other side, a little bit of slowly drilling, and then I can take off the other contact. Now we have to push out the rest of the rivet. I switch to a pointed tool like this. It's much easier. And yes, finally we got it off and we have a nice clean hole. Then I recommend to take a brush and make a rough cleaning. And here are the components that I will install in the clean chassis, which I also sell on eBay. A brand new motor, a rechargeable battery, 1.2 volts with 300 milliampere per hour, then a magnetic switch system pre-wired to the sheet metal battery contacts. These are especially designed for perfect matching with the new battery size. This has to be soldered to the motor, but I would sell it also completely soldered if you want. You have the choice. And then we have the special rivets for the contact, and also a primed nail, which I use in cooperation with this awesome tool, which is a blind rivet press. I highly recommend to use this because it will make the whole operation very comfortable. If you don't have this at home, you can purchase it from me. I sell it as an option, extra option, with this complete restoration kit. These pressing tools usually have 4 different mouthpieces. You have to take the mouthpiece with the smallest hole and insert it here at this place. Then later on you take the nail and by squeezing the grips, the nail gets pulled down and will equally tighten up the rivet. This is by far the safest method to tighten up a hollow rivet, like we use here in our installation process. And it goes like this. We take our hollow rivet and insert it from underneath like this. Then we take the battery contact that will be on the minus side of the battery and push it over the rivet shaft. This is kind of tricky, but now you can see that's the way how it has to look like. Then we take our primed nail and this comes directly into the rivet hole like this, and I save the rivet from underneath with my finger so that it can't slip out. And now here comes our rivet tool. I have to insert the nail into the mouthpiece like so, and have to do a little adjustment so that the sheet metal contact is in the right position. It's a little bit tricky, but as you can see here I got it. And then I have to do a little pressing with the grips, and this will pull down the nail. And finally the rivet gets trimmed like so, and then you have to release and push out the nail, and that's it for the first step. Yeah, it looks very fine, exactly the way I wanted to. And then we can do the testing with the motor. So I put in the motor to make sure that the side pin of the battery contact is properly touching the sidewall of the motor, which has to be like this. Here it fits very well, but if you notice a clear gap between the side pin and the motor case, then do a little bending towards the motor case and then insert the motor again, and this should be fine. And then the same procedure with the plus side battery contact. And after we trimmed the rivet, we are almost done. But then take out the nail and insert the motor, and then we finally make the battery test. And as we can see here, the battery sits in the chassis very safe and very deep. That's exactly the way we want it. And then we have to solder the end of the wire to the motor contact. But as I told you before, I will offer you this in a pre-soldered version. Before we do the final testing, I highly recommend to clean the front axle, because mostly these axles are pretty rusty, and this will prevent your front wheels from spinning freely. And there's a simple trick to do this. Take a sharp knife or a cutter like this, start in the middle and do some easy scraping. This will remove the rust pretty quick, and then you go from side to side. And this is done in just a few seconds. And then your wheels can spin freely, and this is exactly what we need for racing. And this is the way it has to look like in the end. The front axle has to be on top of the magnetic switch. You insert the axle the same way you took it off. Just do a little pressing from underneath and then just push in the axle. This is it. When we have a closer look to the rear wheels, we might notice that the rubber tires are kind of brittle, kind of dry and old. And here's my recommendation. Take these off and replace them with fresh rubber tires, which I offer with this restoration kit. And when you put these on, you will notice a much better grip on the track, more speed, and that's what we need for racing these cars. The final test showed us the system works excellent. But now some final words to the battery. Please don't take off the green isolation from the battery. If you do so, your battery might get short-circuited and will get very, very hot, and the electrical system of the car will get damaged. So just don't do it. And have an eye on the polarity of the battery. It has to sit in the car like this. That's for now. Have a great time and enjoy. But if you find your old Scorpion in this marvelous condition like here, then you have to prepare your battery like this, because the old battery contact design is taken the negative battery pole from the side. To prevent your battery from getting short-circuited by accidentally touching both battery contact pins with the blank side of the battery, then you should cover the bottom of the battery chamber with a piece of plastic foil, like I do in this example. But even if you did everything right, you checked your motor with an external power supply and it's spinning nice, your battery is fresh and charged up and touching the battery contacts very properly, your car is not switching on. It's not working. Or it switches on with a magnet but will switch off after some seconds. Then that might be an indicator for a damaged magnetic switch system. And in order to get this problem solved, I can offer you a very practical solution. This is a pre-wired modern magnetic switch. It is a complete solution because it won't need the big block magnet on top. On the one side of the wire you find a sheet metal collar which you can easily push over the positive battery contact, and the other side of the wire has to be soldered to the contact pin of your motor. This car here is technically fully intact, but I will need it for demonstration purposes. This is the way the sheet metal collar has to sit on the battery contact, and the other side of the wire has to be soldered at your motor contact like here. But before you can do the whole installation, you have to get rid of the old components. Means you start with the front axle, take the front axle out. Then you have to cut the blank wire from the original reed switch, which is soldered to the battery contact, and then cut the wire from the motor contact pin. And finally you take your needle nose pliers and take out the block magnet. When this is done, take your new components, put the new magnetic switch on the spot where the old one was before, insert the front axle, and then set up your wires as shown before, and enjoy your car.